The Diary in the Attic, Emma. It's been just a few days since I had just moved into an old, creaky house on the outskirts of town. It was a rainy, gloomy evening when I decided to explore the attic. The attic door was covered in dust and cobwebs. It was hard to open, but I managed to do it. Inside, it was dark, and there were lots of boxes. I climbed the narrow stairs carefully. The air in the attic felt heavy with secrets. It was fascinating as I was excited to find out any interesting treasure. I started rummaging through the boxes, finding old clothes, broken toys, and dusty photo albums. But one box stood out. I pulled it out from the pile and gently removed a red cloth that covered it. Inside, there was an old book with a strange symbol on it. The symbol looked like it was moving, and it gave me a cold feeling. Maybe I was just tired from all the moving in. The book itself was ancient, with yellow pages and faded ink. It was a diary, and I could make out only a few words on the first page, whispers from the past. Now, this is a treasure. I wonder what's inside. Excited, I started reading. I also wonder how old is this diary, probably more than a century old. As I read it, I found that the diary belonged to a woman named Amelia who lived here a long time ago. She wrote about dreadful and weird things that had plagued her family. Somehow the more I read, the more disturbing her stories got, but I kept reading. Amelia wrote of whispers that echoed through the house at night, voices that seemed to come from the walls themselves. She talked about moving shadows and a constant feeling of being watched. Her family had consulted priests, mediums, and even scholars, but no one could explain the haunting phenomena that tormented them. Damn, that's creepy. Amelia's diary told about spooky whispers in the house at night, like voices in the walls. She mentioned shadows moving around and feeling watched all the time. Her family asked priests, mediums, and smart people for help, but nobody could explain the scary stuff that tormented them. Man, that's really creepy. The diary hinted at rituals performed in the attic, desperate attempts to banish the malevolent forces that had taken residence in the house. Unfortunately for them, the rituals had only made things worse. They seemed to unleash some sort of darkness that haunted every corner of their lives. That was a crazy story. It was so interesting I couldn't stop reading. I felt like I somehow knew Amelia and her scary situation. I felt an inexplicable connection to Amelia and her plight, as if her fear had transcended time and reached out to me. It was then that I heard it, a faint whisper, like a soft breath against my ear. I froze, my heart stared pounding in my chest. The attic was silent, save for the sound of my own breathing. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination, a result of the eerie atmosphere of the attic. But then, the whisper came again, more pronounced this time. "Help us," it whispered, like many ghostly voices together, which was terrifying. I couldn't see anyone, but then something was there, and it felt like it was coming from the diary itself. Panic gripped me as I couldn't understand what was happening. I slammed the book shut, my hands trembling, and backed away from it. The attic suddenly felt suffocating, the air thick with something evil and cursed. I locked the attic and I hurried down the stairs, and the whispers got quieter as I went down. That was creepy. I went to sleep that night hoping it would all just go away. That night, I woke up shivering from the nightmare of Amelia. I sat up in exhaustion. And then I turned and saw the diary that I had locked up in the attic is now sitting on my bedstand with the page that I left off. I screamed in horror and I tried to lock it up in the attic again. Every night since then, an eerie dread gripped me, squeezing like a vice on my soul. I couldn't escape the gnawing sensation that unseen eyes watched my every move. The book appeared every night in my bedroom with the pages open, forcing me to read them. The whispers continued, growing louder and more insistent, as if Amelia and her family were reaching out from beyond the grave, begging to be free from their agonizing plight. I was haunted by terrible nightmares, visions of shadowy figures lurking in the corners of my room. And how I wished I'd never found that wretched diary. Now I know why I got this house for a bargain. Desperation drove me to seek help. I sought out a local historian, a keeper of the town's dark secrets. He revealed the house's ominous history, a tale of rituals gone horribly wrong and a curse that had plagued generation after generation. The historian's voice quivered as he spoke of the diary's importance, a potential key to breaking the curse. But it came with a chilling condition. The spirits that had taken up residence in the house, he warned, would not release their grip without a sacrifice. With desperation, I tried selling the house for months, but no buyer wanted it. It was as if I was forced to be trapped in this house. I fell into a trap of dread and fear. I decided to try to break the curse instead. With all the courage I had, I returned to the attic, clutching the accursed diary tightly. The air grew thick with tension as I lit candles and incense, following the cryptic instructions from the pages. The whispers got louder, like a chorus of despair surrounding me. My heart pounded with fear and desperation to live as chanted the strange instructions. As I completed the ritual, the attic was starting to be filled in a blinding light, and I felt a powerful surge of energy. The voices cried out in agony and then fell silent. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and relief and tears flooded through me as I realized that I had succeeded in breaking the curse. The house felt different afterward, lighter and more welcoming. The nightmares ceased, and the whispers were replaced with a sense of peace. I had finally laid Amelia and her family to rest, freeing them from the torment that had plagued them for so long. But as I closed the diary for the last time and returned it to its box, I couldn't help but wonder if their whispers would ever truly fade, or if they would linger in the attic, waiting for the next curious soul to stumble upon their tale of horror and redemption. If you found any enjoyment in the video, I implore you to click that like button and subscribe if you dare.